Another type of insurance program that we have to talk about would be long-term care insurance proceeds and benefits. Now, um, first, the setup. What is long-term care insurance as opposed to regular health insurance? Normal health insurance is based on either catastrophic illness, i.e., severe car accident with 10 hours of surgery, intensive care unit, the whole bit. It's designed to cover that, or for day-to-day short-term illness, i.e., you get a strep throat and you have to go to see a doctor to get some antibiotics. It's designed for that. What it's not designed for is the person that's going to need long-term care for several months. And the classic case is to think of nursing home expenses, where the person really is not able to take care of themselves. They need care, they need assistance. Now, the amount of that assistance might vary quite a bit, but that's what this insurance is designed for. It will typically kick in after the regular health insurance stops paying benefits due to either that the maximum amount that they're willing to pay has been reached per their contract, or the maximum amount of time has been reached per the health insurance contract. So they're no longer on the hook to pay, and so this is a backup term type of insurance plan. Now, the insurance premiums are deductible by the employer if the employer buys the insurance and awards this as a fringe benefit to the employee. And when that's the case, then the amount that the employer is paying could be construed to be income, but it will not be. Again, those premium payments are excluded from the employee's gross income if the premiums paid for the year are less than the limit set by the government. So there is an upper limit. There's Cadillac long-term care insurance plans, where they send you to, they provide enough monetary coverage and benefits for you that you could go to Club Med and stay if you wanted. The government doesn't want to subsidize that with tax benefits, so they establish some amount of premiums that could be paid and be tax-free, but if you exceed that amount, then again the employee will have to be reporting income. Now, they used to have a table in the textbook to show you what these limits were. They've taken that out of the book, and so I don't require you to know the limits, any of them. Just know that there is an upper limit out there that you would have to look up. Okay, now, upon the taxpayer receiving benefits, their long-term care insurance coverage is kicked in, then the amount that is excluded from the gross income is limited to the greater of $330 for each day the patient receives care. Now, this is a 2014 amount. The dollar amount has been indexed for inflation. For comparison's sake, you can see that $320 was allowed per day in 2013. It's been going up at a rate of about $10 per year. So it's the greater of either $330 per day that the patient receives in long-term care, or the actual cost of the care. On top of that, any of the excluded amount is reduced by any benefits received from third parties, i.e., typically other types of insurance. Now, this next rule here is very important to know. The regular health insurance we talked about before can be part of a cafeteria plan, and it retains its tax favorable features. However, long-term insurance is just the opposite. If they're part of a cafeteria plan or a flexible spending plan, then the insurance premiums that the employer was paying now become includable in the income tax calculation. So you have to report them on your tax form. Now, here's an example where we've got Bub that was in a car accident. It's his fault, which turns out it doesn't matter that it's his fault. Simply just receiving the insurance coverage is going to kick all these provisions into gear. Okay, now, he's in a coma for 3 weeks and in the hospital for 7 months, so a total of 210 days he receives care. And we're going to say that his car insurance policy paid him $50,000. his company provides him long-term care insurance that pays $100 per day. His total hospital costs were $70,000. And we're going to assume, just for simplicity's sake, because it really messes the example up, only in that you have a second set of numbers to work through, that he doesn't have regular health insurance coverage to paying for any of these costs. Okay. Now you could have that, and in which case that would kick in, and I'll show you where that section would be. Okay. Now, let's go through this in a particular order. Now, the order that I use is a little bit different than the textbook. They like to start with how much long-term care insurance proceeds are paid out, and that'd be $21,000. 210 days of care times $100 per day. They start with that. I like to find the exclusion amount first. So step one, I want to go through that greater of equation. 210 days at $330 a day is $69,300 versus the actual cost of $70,000. So we take the greater amount, which is the $70,000. But then we subtract away the amount received from the insurance company, the $50,000. Now, folks, this is also where regular health care insurance could kick in. Okay, if it was being used to cover some of his medical expenses during this time period. In real life, typically what you have is health insurance covering them while they're in the hospital, and then as they transition to a long-term care facility, the long-term care insurance will kick in. And so you have different sets of bills with the amounts of insurance kicking in at different times for different amounts. And that's why I didn't want to bring it into the problem at this point. You won't need it for any of your exams, but hopefully you have an understanding of how the rules work for both different types of insurance programs. Okay, so when we subtract the $50,000 away from the $70,000, we end up with the exclusion amount of $20,000. That means out of the $21,000 that he receives from his long-term care insurance program, he gets to exclude $20,000 off of his tax return. So he only has to report $1,000 to be taxed upon. Okay, and we're going to assume again that the car insurance policy was purchased by Bud, and so that $50,000 is not taxable. Okay, that concludes this little section here.